right, welcome everybody back to the Push to Pass podcast. Matt could make it this time, so everybody say hi to Matt.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, and we just got done watching the thermal IndyCar race. This year it was a points-paying race, and it was interesting. A whole lot to talk about, which is honestly, I'll take it. Just having something to talk about, because I was worried after about 20 something laps into this race there wasn't going to be a lot to talk about.
Yep.
So happy to have some stuff to talk about, but just generally speaking, Matt, how did you feel about this one?
I mean, we haven't seen like the, gloves off, type IndyCar racing that we've seen. We haven't seen a lot of like craziness fighting for the lead, but today we were very entertained with that, and it did come down to a strategy thing, but we got to see on-track passes, which is exciting, something we haven't seen a lot of so far this year. So for the lead, at least, obviously.
Yeah.
And we saw some different players throughout the race fighting for the top five. We saw Will Power, which we'll talk about, go from 21st up to a 6th place finish, something like that.
Yeah.
A very strong result. He gained 21 spots. Yeah, 6th place. Very good run out of him, but I mean, I think the one thing we're going to get into is how a certain team had this and lost it today. So,
yeah, I think that's going to be the major takeaway from this. But as generally speaking, so this is our second time here at Thermal Club, and I wasn't a huge fan of it last year. I don't think a lot of people were, so I don't think that's a wild statement or anything, but I thought in my mind that it would work better in this sort of scenario.
Yep.
The format they had last year, I didn't think was really conducive to great racing, and ultimately this wound up. And that's the thing too. I really like the way the track is kind of set up as far as for driving. I think it's really cool for actual driving goes. As far as actual driving goes, I wasn't convinced that the racing would be very good, but out of what we got out of Palou, Lundgaard, and Award toward the end of this race, I think I'm wrong on that one. Happy to be wrong. Always happy to be wrong when I think the race is going to suck.
Happy to be wrong when I'm pessimistic. Exactly.
Yep. Better way to put it than I. You have a way with words, Matthew. But it wasn't all smooth sailing this weekend. Unfortunately, at around lap 35-ish, I think, the IndyCar IMS Productions truck suffered an electrical failure and put the race down for a solid 20 minutes, maybe. We were all kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what was going on there. I honestly didn't realize what was happening until NASCAR popped up on my screen. On that screen, I had two screens going, but yeah, I was like, why is there NASCAR on both of my screens? I'm really confused now. Immediately jumped to Twitter and found out that what was going on, and then jumped to the radio broadcast, which I'm not exactly sure how they were getting their feed. I'm not really sure, because maybe they weren't super informative. I don't think that was their fault, but I think they might have just been looking at timing and scoring. I don't really know. But yeah, unfortunate that happened. Not Fox's fault. That was kind of my first thought. I was like, oh God, why did Fox fuck this up already? We're two races in, and they've got to mess this up. But yeah, I don't know. They fixed the problem. Everyone keeps saying this needs to never happen again. Well, quite frankly, it never has happened before. I don't know how you fix it, really. Sometimes things just happen. If we remember, if anyone watching this also watches Pavement Late Model Racing, the South Carolina 400 last year, the internet just kind of went out at Florence Motor Speedway and nobody could watch it. So it happens sometimes. It's not exactly the same situation, but I don't know.
The one time this did happen, I remember in IndyCar for NBC a couple of years ago during St. Pete, and it went down, and there was just nothing. It was just like a black screen forever. And then eventually they just showed the IndyCar logo, and it was Lee Diffie in the booth calling in and talking on the phone about the race. I don't remember what year that was. I want to say it was 2018, but that seems like too long ago.
No, 18, the race was on
Oh,
ABC.
it was still on ABC. Correct. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been that. Maybe
So
2019,
yeah, it
2021.
might have been 2019 or 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So that
do.
was
I
as
do
soon as that
remember.
happened, I'm like, are they going to be calling in and talking? And it was just the worst quality. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad they were able to get it back up. Like we said, it's just kind of a fluke thing that happens. You can't really blame anyone for it. To our knowledge, we can't blame anyone for it. Maybe there is someone to blame. But things happen. Internet goes down. It happens in corporate America. It happens. It happens in real life. This is what happens. Power outages, certain things. It's something that you can't control sometimes. So I think they did a good job keeping us up to date. And Fox, as soon as they cut over, Mike Joy was like, "Thank you for joining us," blah. And then we were back, and we got to see a great finish. So we got to see the important parts. Really, we missed the middle of a race where Pato was just pulling away. So
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, we got really lucky with the timing of it, I guess,
mhm.
because nothing really the outlook of the race didn't change much from when
Yep.
we left to when we came back,
Hmm.
and then it completely changed in the next 10 laps after that.
Correct.
But yeah. So I guess we'll just go ahead and the other thing about Fox, they did sort of somewhat change their graphics a little bit. We've gotten rid of the cartoons, people.
It's crazy.
We
Never
are
thought it would
rid
happen.
we are rid of the cartoons. I'm
NASCAR had
happy.
it, NFL had it, everyone.
Yep.
IndyCar is the first one that got away from it. So good
Mhm.
job, IndyCar Twitter. We did our job and we got what we wanted. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean they might have done it for everything because I don't remember seeing them on the NASCAR broadcast today.
Oh,
Or
cool.
yeah, so I'll have to go back and double check that, but I'm pretty sure they
Good.
didn't.
Took them
So
long enough. Glad they did it.
yeah, finally. So win. That is a win. I'll take. We can take full credit for that.
Absolutely. That from the push to pass broadcast, you guys are welcome. We were able to
Yes,
drive that.
all 28 people that watched last episode made that happen. So thank you to all of you who watched that.
Thanks to all the loyal listeners and
Our
viewers. It's
loyal
fantastic.
viewers. All right, so the actual race. Paddle Award started on pole, didn't let up, was about, he was what, like 8 or 9 seconds ahead?
Yep. Yeah, he was gapping the field. I think he got close to 10. So, I mean, he was just gone. There was nobody in his league at the beginning of the race, and Lundgaard was running right there in second. They kind of took Lundgaard on a different strategy to see as well, and it worked out. For most of the race, it worked out. So they were able to protect the top two spots for the majority of the race, and Pato just ran absolutely great. I mean, this is nothing that we're surprised to see him going on pole and then pulling away. Not surprised. Are we surprised McLaren had a strategy issue? I don't know if we want to jump into that right now, but beginning of
Now
the
we,
race, Pato. Well, there's some other stuff that happened. I mean, we saw Callum drive into the back of somebody, and yeah, but
yeah.
start of the race for Pato, very clean. Did everything he needed to do.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, unfortunately, the strategy just didn't work out for them. And I say didn't work out for them. That was, I would call it a blunder, putting yourself on a tire disadvantage to Alex Palou. Um, but if I were them, I don't think I would have expected it to turn around like that.
Yeah,
Um, uh, Alex Palou went from being third, about 10 seconds behind Alex Palou, to ending the race about 9 seconds ahead, 9.5.
yeah, like close to 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a huge jump. Either he,
Ginormous jump in pace for sure.
yeah, um, maybe I wasn't paying attention enough. I didn't realize the disparity was that big between the Reds and the Blacks, or Alex Palou was just that good.
Yeah, I
That's the
knew
answer.
they were talking in the beginning, watching through the broadcast and just what we've seen. I mean, the red tire was significantly faster, and Herta was able to hold his own in the first stint, which was very impressive because everybody else just with reds was flying.
Yeah.
So I was I'm going to call it a blunder completely. I mean, McLaren, you cannot, for the last stint of the race, you want to push. It's like doing a two-stop race. It's like, okay, you've accepted that at the end of the day, you're going to have to be going slower, and wherever you finish is where you finish. Why, when you have the lead like that, and I know they have to put the blacks on, but why are you putting your driver in an advantage? When everybody's pushing at the end of the race, you're giving him a slower tire. That is
Yeah.
just absolutely abysmal on their part. I don't understand the thought process of that. Look, we don't know the data. There's people way above our pay grades that look at that and look at this data. I don't know how that's the conclusion where you see that Alex Palou, a guy who has dominated the series since 2021 when he's been in a competitive car, you're going to let him have a faster tire at the end of the race and push as hard as he can and you're going to give yourself a disadvantage with the tires. Don't understand that planning. You don't know everything when you're going through. In hindsight, it's 2020. I get it, but you have to know at the end of the race you're going to have to be going the fastest. No matter what gap you have or not, you need to be going the fastest at the end of the race.
Yeah, and also they kept putting after Palou. So even if that was the initial plan and they thought that that was right or whatever, you could have absolutely just matched your strategy to Palou's.
Yes.
So yeah, there's obviously by the time you get to the last stint, then you've already made your bed, but
Yep.
you needed to be making that plan beforehand. Yeah,
It's
with
not like it was a two-stop race either. I mean, they came in,
yeah,
they're like, oh, people put on blacks. Maybe we should do that next stop so that by the last stop we have reds because we know how much faster they are. And they didn't
yeah,
even do it the next stop. I don't understand. I don't understand that thought process. I really don't.
yeah, yeah. So, uh, I would say I think you already said it, but I would say they blew it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and fortunately or unfortunately or however you want to look at it, I really don't want to turn into the guy that just hates Alex Palou because I don't. But at some point, it's got to be embarrassing for the field.
Yes.
He just walks all over them week in and week out.
Yep. And he does it in multiple fashions. I
Yeah,
mean, he does it and at St. Pete, fuel saving race. He was able to play the cards better than anybody else. Today, tire strategy, going faster, having to close a massive gap. And that's no matter what the tire strategy is at that point. I mean, that still was a huge demand out of Alex Palou, and he just goes in and does it. Same thing, I think I mentioned it in the first episode this year. At Laguna Seca last year, he pitted, everybody else pitted, and he stayed out, and he had to go fast enough so that he could build a big enough gap so that he could pit again and still be in the lead. And he did that. On black tires, he went through and ran the fastest laps of the race and propelled himself to another victory in dominant fashion. Like how how are the other teams okay with this? And like McLaren, how are you putting yourself in an advantage where like Alex Lowe is going to be faster at the end of the race? We're just going to have to accept that. We're just going to make our bed and that's what we're going to be. We're going to win. No, you can't. You got to give yourself an even playing field to even consider winning against Alex Palou. You can't just roll the dice and be like, well, Pato's been the best all day. We're going to be fine. Nobody can touch him, even if we give him a disadvantage in the last stint of the race. No. What if a caution comes out, Palou's on a better tire? You're done. It's not like F1 where a caution comes out, you pull in, put on the softer tire, go back out. No, you got to sit there and wait. You're going to lose all your track position. I don't understand where they were going to benefit from this strategy at all. I don't. I don't understand it.
yeah. I guess the thought process is that you have a big enough lead at that point that it's not going to matter. Which again, with anybody else behind you, here's the thing. Here's the most impressive thing about what Alex Palou did today to me is not only did he had to he wasn't coming from second, so he had to race the hell out of Christian Lundgaard
And
to get
Lundgaard
it.
put up a great battle as well.
He
I think
really
that's
did.
one thing that kind of gets overglossed. I mean, that crossover he had, he did everything he could to keep him behind and
Yeah.
help his teammate out to help try and secure the win. Lundgaard did great, but yeah, continue with what you're saying about Palou.
Yeah, so he did that, didn't overuse the tires there.
Yep.
Um, Proceeds to run down Pato in like 5 laps.
Yep.
Didn't overuse the tires, makes that pass, still doesn't overuse the tires, and then gap him by 9.5 seconds. Never once overcooking the tires, the soft tires. That's incredible. Like
Yes.
I was even as good as I know Alex Palou is, I was expecting him to come back to Pato by the end of that stint.
Yep.
And it just never happened. Now, part of it, Pato might have been dejected to a point where he wasn't putting in his best laps. I don't know.
Yep.
They said he sounded dejected on the radio. I can't blame him. I would be too.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's a tough way to lose.
like, hey, by the way, you're 9 seconds, and then 5 laps later, oh yeah, by the way, there he is. Um,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no coming back from that mentally. So, yeah, Alex Palou again, like you said, he does it in so many different ways. I'm starting to think I'm I halfway think he's doing it on purpose. Like, how many different ways can I win an IndyCar
It,
race?
it's it's like he's going into a video game. He has it on the easiest setting. He's like, let me just start in the back this time.
Yeah,
Like, it's not fair. Let me just go at a disadvantage here. And just comes back and wins every time. Never
I'm
fails.
I'm waiting on him to start a race in the pit lane, not
Yeah.
because he has to, but because he just feels like it.
Yeah, just because he wants to, just to see what he can do. I agree. Yeah. Well, probably if he starts there, we'll probably miss a lot of the chaos that always seems to start at the beginning of these races, which today was cleaner than before, but you know,
Yeah.
not terrific.
I wanted to make this point and not to say I want Alex Palou out of this series, but I don't know how much attention you've paid to Formula One this season.
Hmm.
I find it hard to justify a guy like Liam Lawson running a Red Bull car in like 15th
But
both
yeah,
races.
qualifying last place this
Yeah,
past weekend. Yep.
yeah. Um, for reference, both Haas cars finished in the points today.
Yep.
So I find it hard to justify that and people not giving out anyone in Formula One not giving Alex Palou a ride. I don't.
Yes.
How do you watch that and not be like, that guy could go out and you and win a world title if you give him the right stuff.
Yes.
So
I I am feeling the same way. It's like he's doing everything he needs to do, minus winning an Indy 500, which some of it's been out of control the past few years.
yeah,
Um, I don't understand how people aren't looking at this and seeing him as one of the best drivers in the world. I get the politics, I get the game, and that's just how it's going to be. It's about money, it's about everything else. It's about growing up in the Formula ladder and having the right people behind you, getting picked up by Red Bull at a young age. But Alex Blow has continued to embarrass IndyCar. I mean, the rest of the field continue to embarrass them, and it just isn't even fair. He likes it here, so there's that. It's not like he's just like buying his time trying to get to Formula One, and maybe he is, we don't know. But it seems like he enjoys it, loves his team, and I mean, who doesn't love winning? It's just
yeah. I was about to say,
it doesn't seem like a challenge at all to him. So
yeah,
yeah, at one point does a team in Europe not be like, huh, this guy is, better than this, Formula 2 pay driver that we found. So
yeah, and I'm being a little hyperbolical when I say Red Bull. Like, I don't think Red Bull's going to want to pick up a guy like Alex to
no,
be
yeah.
with Max. But I
Yep.
mean, Max has not been. I know we're talking about F1, but uh, Max has not been shy about saying he's not really going to stay around forever. He wants to go do
Correct.
other things.
Hmm.
So if I'm Red Bull and Max up and leaves, and you got to have a new number one driver, I would be swooping it. I would be like, hey,
Yes.
Chip Ganassi, buying out this contract. We're doing it. Will they do it? Probably
Well, he
not.
doesn't have to buy it out. Don't worry. Alex will just sign one. You're good.
It's true.
Alex will just sign another contract. It's all good.
I'm guessing Alex doesn't want to go through that again, but it's,
Yeah, he still has a lot going on in court for him right now. So
yeah, but yeah, I'm sure he wants to do that one legally if he ever has the opportunity again.
I'd hope at
Yeah.
this point.
But all right, something close to your heart and well, mine as well actually. But Ed Carpenter Racing has been really solid to start this season. Alexander Rossi finished P9 today. Where did Lundgaard or not Lundgaard?
Rasmussen was
Rasmussen
12th.
12th.
Yep, 19th to 12th today.
Yeah, so he ran great all day too.
Hmm.
Um, you and I both kind of agreed at the start of the season that we kind of expected this to be what we saw out of them later in the season,
Yep.
and they have blown away my expectations
Hmm.
tenfold. I know it's only two races. You can definitely overreact a little bit in two races, but
Yep.
I mean the pieces
These are
are
the results
there.
we expected to see in the middle of the season for sure.
Yeah,
You're like Toronto's, Mid Ohio, started to see some silver lining for them, but this weekend Alexander Rossi's team had to replace two hybrid systems. In the first race at St. Pete, like 30 laps into the race, their hybrid blew out. So, and I thought I heard on the broadcast there might have been some issues today. I didn't see anything with it after the race, but this team is overperforming. I mean, I hope they're not overperforming. I hope this is consistent as a Rossi fan, not to get biased here, but the team looks fantastic and they're fighting issues. And they're still, I think they have two great hungry drivers. You have Alexander Rossi, who, maybe didn't play his cards right, leaving and ready to go to McLaren at the time he did, because I don't know if we'll see him fighting for a title again. But if they continue on this trajectory, I think it's very easy to say that they're a threat to win a race anytime they show up. So Ed Carpenter Racing's looking fantastic. Rasmussen looked great. I expected to see him come up through the field and fight today, seeing the pace that Rossi had getting in the fast six. I don't know how many fast sixes he got in with McLaren, but he definitely didn't get any of his first five races. So
no,
it's a great start for the team. This newly rebranded team, newly revitalized team with Job House, splendid sponsorship, and they're the people to talk about right now. They are the people to talk about. And one thing I kind of want to shift. What are your thoughts on Ed Carpenter Racing? So I want to shift to another team after this and kind of compare.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really down on them the past couple of years. Obviously, 2021 I think was probably their peak, I think.
Hmm.
They were all
Last time
three.
they won. Yeah.
Yeah, last time they won, all three of their cars really good in the Indy 500. They were solid. Actually, I think what Connor led the most laps in that race, I believe.
I think so. Yep.
But yeah, and then it kind of kept going downhill. They fired Connor. They got worse, which made it seem silly to fire Connor, but whatever, he's doing fine now. Um, and yeah, I didn't know what their trajectory was. They weren't even running great at the Indy 500. I guess Rasmussen ran solid last year, but
Yep.
overall they weren't where they were.
Hmm.
So yeah, to come into this season and look like they have is just a major step forward. So
Agreed. And one thing to note, I mean, Alexander Rossi is ninth in the championship, and he was struggling to even do that in the second McLaren car. So,
yeah,
granted, the second McLaren car is currently fourth in the championship, Christian, and had a third place finish today. But
yeah, I was curious what your thoughts on that were because you said you were going to be tough on Christian Rast or Christian
I want
Lundgaard. Holy shit!
I want to be tough on Lundgaard, right? I mean, he led laps at St. Pete through strategy, but still looked good. Put himself up there. It's not his fault that the race didn't end up better for him. Today looked great. I mean, he's doing everything he can with that car, if not more. So he has somebody. There's somebody on that team now, and whether it's within the team, the driver, I don't want to admit that Lundgaard is better than Rossi, and I don't have to, but he is getting the most out of that car, and finally somebody else that can be consistent with Pato. So far, we're two races in, right? But they have two cars in the top four in the championship. And that's something we haven't seen. And then going back to Ed Carpenter, ninth place, top 10 in the championship, not something we have seen in a long time. So probably since Newgarden time, if I had to assume. So
Yeah,
very, very strong.
I think VK might have put it in the top 10 a few
VK with a
times.
win definitely probably put him up there for sure.
Yeah. What
But
I'm curious about, you mentioned McLaren. You obviously had the two that should have finished 1-2 in this race. They called them.
Nolan Siegel, is that
Yeah.
where we're going? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
Hmm.
where we're going.
Hmm.
I haven't been super high on Nolan since the whole Teo Porcher buying a ride thing
Yep.
happened last year. Um, he's had moments. And I know he's really young. What is he like? Is he like 19?
I think he's 19. Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand he's really young and not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, especially with a kid still
Hmm.
running a big time IndyCar race. But it really puts it on full display when your two teammates are at one point like I think they were like as a total like 15 seconds out of the field maybe.
Yes. Hmm.
Um and he was running like what 13th?
He qualified 16th, finished 19th. So
Yeah.
pretty abysmal day. Yeah.
Yeah, so it got worse than I even realized. So I don't know. I'd love maybe they were running the same
He
strategy
wasn't
and
he
got
wasn't
by.
in the conversation at all. I mean,
No.
he was about to get lapped by the leader. He was
Yeah.
running right in front of the leader to end the race. So, I mean, it's just he has a lot of exposure right now. He's going to learn. TK is very last year after Indy was very much adamant in getting him in. Obviously, the money helped getting him in the door as well. Um, but he's young. He's getting put in. He doesn't get to ride around in a coin car or a Foyt car to start out his career.
Yeah.
So there is that, but a lot of exposure when your teammates are running that well to at least put together a top 15 finish. Just certain things. Kiffin Simpson finished 15th today. A lot of people, we know why Kiffin's there. He's not bad. He doesn't destroy any equipment, but Nolan, what's going on over there in that camp? So it could be one of those things we've known Pato is overdriving that car. Maybe Lundgaard is too. He's been overdriving Ray Hall cars for the past 3 years of his career as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how Nolan develops and see how that turns for that six car. And if they can get three cars that are competitive, that's ideal because Ganassi sort of had. I mean, everybody in Ganassi finished where they should today. Dixon didn't have the best strategy, finished 10th. Palou is Alex Palou, and Kiffin gets 15th. So out of the three-car teams, they did not perform very well. But there's another three-car team that had a pretty bad weekend.
Yeah, I assume you mean Penske Racing.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Team Penske did not deliver this weekend.
Yeah, led by Will Power, who
Yep.
made a mountain out of a molehill this weekend
Hmm.
based off where they put it on Saturday.
Yep.
But I don't even know what car Joseph Newgarden drove this. Like what scheme? I
I
don't
couldn't
know.
tell you. I think it was PPG. Couldn't tell you. Didn't
Probably
see it.
PPG. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd they end up? 16th?
13th.
13th. Okay, so slightly better than I thought they did.
Yeah.
And then obviously poor Scotty McLaughlin. Well, I say that he was starting basically last.
Yes.
Um, and got bodied by Devlin DeFrancesco coming to the green
Yes.
and wound up. He was 6 laps down. I think he parked it with about 5 laps to
Yeah, I
go.
saw he had a hybrid issue as well, so didn't help his day, but his day was done before it even started. So
Yeah, that was it. I know. Will, you mentioned hybrid issues. Will Buxton mentioned that they thought it might have been an issue with just how bumpy
Mhm.
Thermal Club is. But that's concerning though too because we're gonna go to several street courses.
Long Beach, pretty bumpy too.
Long Beach is pretty bumpy. Detroit is really bumpy.
Correct.
Toronto's pretty bumpy. So
Any street circuit,
any
like
street circuit, yeah.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, they're gonna have to figure that one out. We can't keep having that over and over and over again.
Nope.
Ultimately, though, if I'm Penske at this point, I think it's time to just focus on the Indy 500. Like Palou's got 2 wins already. You're putting stinkers up like that. I mean, what? We're going to Barber next, right? So,
Long Beach.
oh, we are going to Long Beach.
Yep.
Palou's going to win that too, probably.
Andretti does very well at that
Andretti
racetrack.
does
One
very
thing you
well
got to
there.
remember, Andretti does really well there. Shank's been looking fast, so
This is true. I'm basing it off last year where it was obviously Newgarden and
Dixon fighting for the
Dixon.
win.
Who was it? Who else was it in that battle?
Herta was in that battle. So he
Herta.
got into Newgarden.
Yeah,
Yep.
Andretti. So I don't know. Okay. So I could be wrong there. I could be wrong.
Not a bad bet. Not a bad bet.
No. I might put a couple bucks on Palou. Hey, look, nothing I bet on ever hits. So
Hey, you
except
might make the championship exciting if you start betting on Palou then.
I'm gonna give that a go. I'm gonna put $5 on Palou every week.
Yep.
And let's just see how it goes. I'll either make a decent amount of money. Well, I don't know. I'm probably not going to get very good odds on Palou, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, all right. So Long Beach, I don't remember who I picked. Obviously, Matt didn't pick. I don't remember who Chuck picked either. So we're just gonna move on. I'm not really keeping score anyway.
Fair enough.
I'm going to, or you can go first if you'd like.
I'm gonna take Colton Herta. I think it's Andretti's playground, and I'm taking Colton Herta. I think at some point the luck's gonna turn for them.
All right. I'm gonna stick with the Andretti camp, and I'm gonna go with Kyle Kirkwood. They were pretty solid today too. Yeah. Watch it. It's gonna be like Scott Dixon or Alex Palou, but we're gonna
Most likely. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
we're just gonna roll with these picks anyway. So, all right. If you don't have anything else, then I think that's about it for this one.
Nothing for me. Nothing for me at all. Top 10 in points for Alexander Rossi. That's all I came here to see this year. So, and an Indy 500 pole. So 2 things I'm in for.
There you go. All right. That's been it. He's been Matt. I've been Seth. This has been Push to Pass, and we'll see y'all after Long Beach.